Good job! You ruled! I want to see your score. Oh, fantastic! Okay, I'm pumped. Uppercut combo number 2 focuses on 1-2s and left uppercuts. Uppercut combo. The time has come to see you. Whoa! You ever heard the saying? Let's check out punch to place today's stamp. Good job! If you're water and which workout are you doing? Which song do you want? Which workout are you doing? What looks good?
How long can you remain in a caloric deficit? Hey guys. In today's video, I'm going to explain the ideal plan for you to lose body fat quickly. So I can show you an example of me going from a body fat of here to a body fat here. And I'm also going to show you some of the people that have worked with the Transformation Challenge, people like Dan Devine, who've gone from here to here. And I love to highlight Drea, who went from here to here, all in a short amount of time. I'm going to explain to you exactly what they did and how you can apply it to your success. Hey guys, what's going on? This is Paul Ravella from ProPhysique.com. In today's video, I want to address questions I've been getting about losing weight quickly. And for those of you that know me, you know I'm going to say, like, don't focus on losing weight quickly. But listen, this is the real life scenarios. And there are some places and some ways that we can be very successful in losing body fat very quickly, keeping it off, and just having some success with it. Because if you really want to go all in and get leaner and you have a deadline, well, let's talk about it, because some of the people I just highlighted were a part of our Transformation Challenge, which we're starting in a couple weeks. But I want to talk to you about, as a coach who's seen this thousands of times, what are those traits that lead to success? What are the things that I did that I noticed that made me successful? And we're going to talk a little bit about nutrition. We're going to talk a little bit about, your daily activity, talk a little bit about mindset, and the fourth, and what I consider to be probably the most important factor, we'll save that for last. So first things first, are you eating like a jerk? Listen, it goes without saying, like, anything that you put in your body, any energy that you're consuming is going to have a impact on you, on your energy levels, on your training and your recovery, but also on your fat storage. And I don't get too caught up in any one type of diet, but a diet that you can really stick to is what's going to work best, whether that be fasting or whether that be, any type of plan that eliminates things. I just did a video the other day talking about don't eliminate carbohydrates, because that can have some real negative impacts downstream to things like hormones and thyroid and things like that. But I'm also not very extreme at all when it comes to dieting. Why? Because I've seen the least success with extreme measure protocols, okay, including fasting, including carnivore, including keto. They can have a lot of success, but what I find is they also have some of the worst rebound, okay? And so what I want to talk to you about today are the strategies that I've seen that worked for the individuals and myself. And that was switching to an approach where accountability is the only real diet measure. Accountability to your macro totals, your calorie totals for the day. And if you don't really understand where your calories or your macros should be, I do have a free calculator. You can go here. And if you don't understand like how much protein to hit and you just want an easy number, I always say, hey, just hit your goal weight in protein, right? So if you're 250 pounds and you're like, my goal is to lose 100 pounds, I want to be 150, hit 150 grams of protein a day. You're going to eat plenty of protein for building muscle. So first things first, successful people, when it comes to their diet, they understand what they're taking in. They understand how to set themselves up for success based on their calories and macronutrients. But there's one final piece that most people don't really start to pay attention to until further down the road. And it's something that the second I did this, boom, things started happening. That's right, planning meals ahead. Do you know what you're going to eat for your next meal? Do you know what you're going to eat tomorrow? Do you know what you're going to eat for the next few days? When you start repeating these patterns and you take decision making out of the process, decision fatigue for many dieters is what really sets us off track. You get that feeling of like, I don't know what I'm going to eat. I'm stressed and I'm hungry. I'm going to go eat something that tastes delicious. That throws me off plan. It's Thursday night. You think, well, I might as well I ruined the week. I'm just going to start over on Monday. And you set yourself back another week or two instead of just fitting something into your daily goals or having a meal already planned. Even if it comes down to going and getting something that's like a quick service meal or a fast food meal, understanding that you can go to those restaurants, I've done those videos, and you can get something that fits your goals. Just because you go to McDonald's or Burger King or Taco Bell doesn't mean you have to go off plan. And that's the beauty of being flexible and accountable, is that you can fit social events, you can fit your normal life. And the people that are successful in this approach, they are finding ways to continue living their life the way they enjoy it. The people that aren't having success long-term, but maybe short-term success, are just changing things that are going to go back the other direction when they reach their goal or when they get burnt out. So that's first. Losing fat quickly comes down to what you're putting in your mouth. Hands down, that is the easiest way to change your body composition. The next thing is lifestyle. Okay, so what is your daily activity like? Now, when I show you extreme cases of fat loss in a short amount of time, someone like Dan Devine, who won our transformation challenge, and the reason I always highlight Dan is because we had such a great interview with him that we discovered he became a little bit obsessed with this transformation, but it worked and he's kept the weight off. So what did he do? He started tracking his steps. Now, the reason I often talk about walking and step tracking as a form of cardio over other forms of cardio, such as jogging or, endurance training or even high intensity interval training, is because I've tried it all. And when I talk about success after a transformation, what I've noticed is the people that are incorporating walking or cardio or step counting into their daily routine are able to continue that after they reach their goal. Now, you don't have to do as much to keep fat off as you do to get it off. But when you look at other styles of cardio, and I myself have great memories of doing lots of high intensity cardio when I was dieting down for a bodybuilding show, what I remember is as soon as that show was over, I did not ever want to do high intensity cardio again. However, the last couple times that I've dieted down, what I found is that even though my diet was over, I still kept up with my steps. I still kept up with my walking. And what that allowed me to do was stay leaner and not have these fluctuations in body composition that required me to constantly be kind of recalibrating my goals. Okay, so when it comes to losing weight quickly, once you got that diet in place and you've got it in a place where you can handle being consistent, there's really no limitations to how much movement you can add. I've had some individuals lose as much as 5 or 6 pounds in a week who were walking 20 to 30,000 steps a day. And before you say, well, I don't have time for that, I understand. I'm just giving you examples of what can be done. Getting up before you have to start your day. Planning some walking around the end of your day. Perhaps you can just fit it into your daily schedule. You know, if you've got some free time throughout the day, getting those extra steps. But you just start changing your perception around fat loss is just diet, and you pair that with more movement, and you're gonna see some pretty remarkable things. Now, the final thing that I wanna talk about as far as lifestyle that I have found has a profound impact that not a lot of people would associate with losing body fat and keeping body fat off is resistance training, right? Because most people think like if you're in the gym doing resistance training, you're trying to put on weight, put on muscle. But what I found is that most approaches to rapid fat loss, and you know, I've seen some pretty low calorie, you know, fasting, 1 meal a day approaches. What typically happens in those approaches is the nutrition is so bad, even though it's low calorie, that you end up losing lean body mass. Lean body mass is metabolically very challenging to keep. It requires maintenance. You got to go to the gym and train, but it's also going to allow you to eat more and feel better and look better. So the reason Drea's transformation was so remarkable was because she started training again, and she actually recomped and put muscle back on that she had kind of lost through some health issues and some lifestyle issues. And you see the results. It's almost unbelievable that was only 3 months. And this is the feedback I also get when I see people like Dan, and even to a degree myself when I diet down, is that it doesn't look like almost even the same person, or that it's possible in a short amount of time. But it's a situation where 1 + 1 + 1 = 10, right? If you just change your diet, sure, you'll look a bit better. If you just change your diet and you start getting more steps in, sure, you'll look a little bit better. If you change your diet, if you start moving more, and if you start adding in some resistance training, this is going to like catapult you to an entirely different level. It's, for me, it's hard to express because the people that haven't put that effort in, they haven't seen it before, they really don't understand what's possible. And it was the first time that I did it, along with this final thing that really kind of solidified to me, wow, I really wasn't doing all the things I could be doing. I'm gonna dig in a little bit more into the diet aspect because I just kind of brushed on that. But before that, I wanna touch on this final thing that all the people that lose weight quickly have, and that's a deadline, okay? So when you look at images of myself, Dan, Drea, and the thousands of others that I'll be posting, you know, our challenge that just ended, I can't wait to share those with you guys and do some interviews. But if you look at those changes, they're all due to a deadline, right? I think we can all remember a time in our lives where either we wanted to get shredded for our wedding, you know, we had like a cruise coming up, maybe it was summer vacation, something where we knew we had maybe wanted to be seen and look great. And so that's what these challenges are for. And this is why I love the deadline of my transformation challenge. It's why I created it. It was to help you guys, to help those that need that final push. And that's what we get in that private group. And when we start talking to people, it's that accountability, it's that deadline, it's the excitement around finishing something that you start. You don't have to do a bodybuilding competition. That's for me, like my reason to get that extra rep in the gym, to make sure I get that final meal of the day with extra protein. But the transformation challenge offers that opportunity the same way. And even if it's not that, I've suggested to clients that they schedule a photo shoot, right? You pay a photographer for a photo shoot a few months in advance, you're going to see yourself change your approach, okay? So those are the keystones of the things that I see that are making people successful when it comes to a lot of fat loss in a short amount of time. We've seen some remarkable things. One thing you gotta remember is the more body fat you have, the quicker you can lose it. 4, 5, maybe even 10 pounds of fat loss in a week, not likely unless you are carrying an extreme amount of body fat. And yet I can see athletes that are fairly lean losing 1, 2, 3, sometimes even more pounds of body fat in a single week because they lock in and they really start to pay attention to the details. Now, when it comes to the diet, the things that I have found that allow us to be a little bit lower calorie and not suffer, there's a few keys there. One is meal timing. A lot of us don't realize this, but our hunger signals are related to when we eat. So when you start setting up times that you eat every day, you're gonna get hungry at those times every day. Now, the magic number for me when I'm dieting is 4 times per day, right? When I'm not dieting, I'll typically eat 3 times per day. But when I'm dieting, if I eat 4 times per day, those meals spaced out properly, the same times each day, the same foods each day, pretty consistently, really allow me to enjoy those meals, feel full, and go on with my day. Now, in each one of those meals, I'm gonna include a few things. Protein, okay? Obviously, if I'm trying to hit 200 grams of protein a day and I'm eating 4 times a day, I'm gonna be somewhere between 40 and 60 grams of protein in each meal. That right there is gonna make sure that I'm pretty full. I'm also gonna add in some form of fiber, some form of fruit. I'm a big blueberry, strawberry, banana, I love that. So even if I'm having some carbs that are more sugary, because I tend to eat a lot of carbohydrates, I'm going to include something that's got a little more fiber to it, a little bit, things like fruits and vegetables have some other things, some minerals and vitamins that are gonna allow us to feel fuller and feel better. I also believe in including fat in every meal, right? So between 10, 15 grams of fat in each meal. Sometimes that fat source can come from something like the steak that I'm eating. But if I'm eating something a little bit leaner, I might add in something like some avocado. I might add in something that has a little more fat. I might add in some cashews or something like this, because a balanced macronutrient meal is going to keep you fuller longer. It's going to improve digestion, and it's going to keep you looking forward to that next meal. So take some of these tips and don't limit yourself. If you really want to lose fat quickly, put yourself in the best position possible by planning ahead and setting a deadline. Those 2 things right there, the mechanics behind the rest, we can work with. But if you're planning ahead and you have a deadline, you are going to be successful because you're going to pay attention to your diet, your lifestyle, and your training, and you're going to adjust them accordingly. Now, if you need help adjusting those accordingly, please let me know. Okay, guys, I'll talk to you tomorrow. In today's video, losing 10% body fat, going from looking like this to looking like this. I myself have a video right here of me at about 10% body fat. I'm gonna explain how I get there. And the beauty of this is that YouTube told me to make this video for you. Hey guys, what's going on? This is Paul Ravella from ProPhysique.com. In today's video, well, I got the idea from YouTube. They added a tab in our audience page that actually shows analytics of the #1 searched topic for what my audience would like to see. And it was, how long does it take to lose 10% body fat? So I'm gonna talk about the diet. I'm gonna talk about the activity, the cardio, things like that. I'm gonna talk about muscle and resistance training. I'm gonna talk to you about reaching 10% body fat, or how long it takes to lose 10% body fat. But nobody on the internet is gonna show you the way that I show you. Not only through myself, I'll put a video on the screen here so you can see exactly what I look like right now. Guys, I've dieted down to 10% body fat and I've maintained it for over a year at 49 years old, and I'm a natural athlete, a lifetime natural athlete. Okay, how many people on the internet are talking to you about exactly how to do this when A, they haven't done it, or B, they're using the advancement of steroids to get it done? And while that's fine, that may not be the information that you want. I've also heard a lot of people talk about this that claim to be doctors, but they're actually chiropractors. And their pictures are kind of animated pictures on their thumbnails, and they don't actually have the evidence. Not only do I have the evidence through my practice of myself, but through thousands of clients that ProPhysique has helped over the years. So I want to talk to you about the realistic expectations on how long it's going to take you to lose that 10% body fat. And I'm going to tell you exactly a little bit about my day on how not only I got there, but I stay there. And we're starting right here on this treadmill. Why? Is there something magical about a treadmill? Well, for me there is, because once I started walking every day, it became a lot easier to stay 10% body fat. A lot of people make up their mind about cardio that it doesn't help with fat loss, but there are some multiple benefits that I find. First of all, when I do cardio, especially early in the day, I find it makes me kind of more creative. It gets my brain flowing. I find that also helps me maintain a body composition that I'm really happy with, because I'm burning calories early in the day. I'm also kind of reducing my overall appetite, which sounds crazy, but when you do low intensity steady state cardio, and the highest I ever really put my cardio here is I'll go up to about 3.5 miles an hour. Sometimes I'll do an incline of somewhere between 3 and 5. And this low intensity steady state uses fat for fuel. And a lot has been made about high intensity cardio and different cardio modalities. And even running, I would argue, is a moderate version of cardio. And what does moderate cardio do? it burns more glycogen or carbohydrates for fuel. What happens when you get depleted on glycogen? Your hunger levels go up. What happens when you do low intensity steady state cardio? The lower the intensity, the more you are using fat for fuel. When you're using preferred fats for fuel, your hunger levels do not increase. So, although I am moving more, I am not more hungry. And this is where a lot of the research points us to the fact that exercise can actually make us hungrier. And for good reason, because you're burning through calories. However, what I have found, and the reason why at 49 I can stay in the best shape of my life year round, is because I've learned the magic of low intensity steady state. Now, before you say I get bored walking on a treadmill, why don't you walk outside? Guys, I enjoy this. I can listen to a podcast, I can do a work call, I have a television right here, I can watch a show, a documentary. I can multitask at low intensity. I even have some clients that just have a treadmill desk. That's right. They walk while they're working, or they have a pedal desk. Underneath their desk, they just pedal all day. There's been some really neat research that talks about some people, when they're overfed, they just fidget more, thus negating the effects of the extra calories. So what we can learn from that is that movement in any form can help us lose body fat, and more importantly, keep the body fat off. Now, on a nice day like today, you might think, well, Paul, can I walk outside? Absolutely you can, but you got to remember, sometimes it's cold, sometimes it's hot, sometimes it's raining. The other benefit of walking inside is that we can burn more calories in a predictable manner by increasing the speed and the intensity of the incline. But once you've reached your body fat goals, or once you know what you like, absolutely walk outside. Now, the final piece that I want to talk about is actually resistance training. It's very important when we enter a fat loss phase that we don't forget about this, okay? What builds muscle keeps muscle. So if you are looking to reach 10% body fat and look good, you need to continue doing the things that you did to put on the muscle. A lot of people don't realize that when you're losing body fat, you're actually changing your metabolism. But when you're adding muscle, you're changing your metabolism for the better. Your metabolic needs are improved. So perhaps over the last 30 years of lifting weights, I've actually added enough lean body mass to offset the body fat that I've lost. This is a philosophy that I've come up with, but the idea here is that through resistance training, through diet, and through activity, I've really been able to find a way to maintain 10% body fat. Now, let's talk about the details on how to lose it. Now, before I give you the exact timelines on how long it's gonna take, and I had to do a lot of math, so I would appreciate you guys if you comment below, because this graph that I created took me a while for you. But before we get to that, we all know it's not the cardio, it's not the weights, it's generally what you put in your mouth that is going to determine a lot of your success. So I want to talk to you just about, bluntly, my philosophies on getting myself, my clients, to the body fat goals that they're after, whether that be 5% body fat, like I got right here, shredded to get on stage, like I got my clients that were on the Olympia stage right here, like my client Brian DaCosta, who is the World Natural Bodybuilding Federation overall world champion last year. When you see them, we're going to talk about my philosophy on nutrition, because I think a lot of us take a very polarizing approach to nutrition. You can't have carbs, you can't have bad foods, you got to avoid seed oils. I do not believe in any of that. In fact, I often say I don't believe there are any bad foods, because if you can eat something, it can be beneficial. Now, a lot of people will say, well, Paul, that's just not true because cake has no benefit. Well, I'll tell you one thing. I'm happy when I eat cake, and I think a lot of us only associate food with health benefits, but there's also life benefits, social benefits, okay? Just the idea of enjoying food is a big part of my life. And if you can't enjoy your food, by God, you're not gonna maintain the fat that you've lost. So let's just give an overview of my philosophy. Okay, I believe in using a scientific, evidence-based approach to nutrition, where macronutrients are the focus, okay? So focusing on your daily protein, carbohydrate, and fat intakes while fitting your calorie goals is gonna get you there. Now, before we go into a whole video on that topic, which I've done dozens and probably hundreds of, I have a website that'll give you macros, prophysiquemacros.com. Go there, plug in some information, it'll give you macros, okay, based on the evidence of how much protein, carbs, and fat you should be having to lose body fat, to add muscle, to lose body fat rapidly, etc. There's multiple versions on there. Now, the reason I did that was because I got questions from you guys. So I don't believe there are any bad foods. I don't believe you have to avoid carbs. I don't believe you have to avoid fats. I don't believe you have to fast. There's no benefit to fasting when compared directly to a calorie restriction of the same level, okay? Now, there may be benefits for fasting for some people as far as helping them avoid eating in certain windows. There may be mental benefits for them. But when you compare caloric restriction to someone who is eating the same amount of calories fasted, same result. The health benefits that we see are associated with the weight loss, the body fat loss, okay? Body fat can be very problematic, especially when it's really high. So what I want to explain to you is, guys, it doesn't really matter what the diet is. As long as you are following an evidence-based approach, getting enough protein, carbs, and fat, and you are eating foods that you digest well and you enjoy and they fit you, and the only thing that matters is, are you creating a caloric deficit through your nutrition, your training, and your cardio, okay? These are the big pieces, okay? There we can talk about some other things like sleep and recovery and stress and all these things, but as a coach, when I'm checking in with my clients, that's what I'm focused on, okay? Are we ticking these boxes? And I have a lot of success with my clients. I have a lot of success myself. As I said, just showing you that it doesn't have to be this extreme approach, and I think that's what helps me get and stay where I'm at. And believe me, I've made all the mistakes. I'm here to help you guys not make them. So let's get into exactly how long it's gonna take you. Now, the first thing I did was I had to figure out how long it was gonna take to go from 35% to 25%, from 30% to 20%, right? 25% to 15%. And finally, I did one just for fun. I did one 15% down to 5%. Now, why would anyone ever wanna get 5% body fat? I've done it to win bodybuilding competitions, and I've won. And so that is actually something that we can do. And I want to talk about why things get a little bit different as our body fat percentage changes. So I'll put the graph on the screen here. And if you've been waiting for this whole video, you'll see on the right-hand side, you can just see how many weeks it's going to take you, right? So I put it in there in plain writing. Now, I did all the math for each one of these body fats. So guys, make sure you comment below if you like this stuff, because the first person is 250 pounds at 35% body fat, okay? Now, this is all the same person. And if you notice, I put a column for lean body mass. So if you're 250 pounds and you are 35% body fat, you have 162.5 pounds of lean body mass. So what I had to calculate was that you were not gaining or losing lean body mass through this, because that would obviously change the calculation a bit. But just look at how long it would take this person to lose 10% body fat. About 18 weeks to lose about 34 pounds, okay? So 34 pounds over 18 weeks, multiply that times 2 is about 36, right? So it's about 2 pounds per week. Now, if you are really aggressive, I generally say you can lose about 1% of your body weight per week. Well, at the beginning here, that's gonna be 2.5 pounds. But I also make room for error. I don't expect everyone to be perfect right out the gate. So you could probably reduce that 18 weeks down a little bit more if you were a little bit more aggressive, right? You could probably get that down to 16 or 15 weeks. So why, when we go down to the next one, where we go from 230 pounds to 201 pounds, losing 29 pounds, is it almost the same amount of time? And then you can go all the way to the bottom. Look at my man here who's now remember, they're all the same lean body mass. So the same person at 250 pounds and 35% body fat would be 190 pounds at 15% body fat. So if he wants to lose 10% body fat and get down to 5%, he's only got to lose 20 pounds. However, it's going to take him 14 weeks to lose 20 pounds, when my man up here was able to lose 34 pounds in 18 weeks, only 4 more weeks to lose 14 more pounds. Why is that? Well, look in that right-hand column. Look how much fat mass they have. In the first week at 35% body fat, you've got 52.5 pounds of fat mass, okay, at the end, okay? You started with 87.5. That's a lot of fat mass. Fat can come off quicker when you have more of it. Now look at the end. At 190 pounds, he only had 28.5 pounds of fat mass, and he lost 7.5 pounds of that. So the idea here just is that the less fat you have to lose, the slower it's gonna go. And research basically shows us that about 1% of your body weight is ideal. Just because it's ideal doesn't mean that's what's gonna happen. As a coach, what I recognize here, and if you look at this, you see that there is really a sweet spot. And I find that for most of us, especially men, 15% body fat is very sustainable with very minimal effort as long as you're being active and eating well. When you get down to 10% body fat, that's where the effort is going to be a little bit more required. And I mean, below 10% body fat, you are really paying attention to your nutrition, your sleep, your recovery, and just finding a philosophy that really works for you. And the reason I talk about the length of time to reach is because if you do it that way, you can sustain it, okay? Yes, you can probably get there faster by being a little bit more aggressive with calories, a little bit more aggressive with cardio, using an approach that perhaps is not something that you prefer to sustain for after the diet to reach that goal. But this is where we see the rapid body fat gain. We see the rebounds. We even see people putting on new fat cells, which you don't typically do unless you rapidly gain body fat after a long fat loss period. So how long is it going to take you to lose 10% body fat? YouTube says that's what you guys want to know, and I put it right there for you, okay? Somewhere between 20 weeks, 12 weeks, depending on how much body fat you have. And again, you got to be locked in. You got to be paying attention to your overall approach. Now, I prefer to create an approach where I'm using both cardiovascular activity and diet to create the caloric deficit. An approach where I am using the resistance training I'm doing in the gym or through sports or activities to maintain my lean body mass. If you take a drastic approach to losing body fat, what you're actually going to end up doing is losing some of that lean body mass, severely impacting your metabolism and really making the weight have to get even lower to reach that 10% body fat, and the look won't be as good. Okay, you might reach a place that we call skinny fat where although the weight is where you want it to be, your skin is loose, your muscles are flabby, and you just don't have the look that you need. All right, guys, that's going to be it for me today. Hopefully you enjoyed this video explaining just how long it's going to take you to reach your goals. If you have a specific weight that you're at and a body fat percentage that you're at, let me know below and I can probably give you an idea of how long I think it's going to take to get there. You can also send me an Instagram direct message. All right, guys, I'll talk to you tomorrow. Hey guys, this is Paul Ravella from ProPhysique.com. In today's video, we're going to break down how to time your meals to optimize your fat loss. So if you're looking to get shredded like this and you're trying to lose some body fat, how does meal timing affect your fat loss goals? We're starting right now. Hey guys, what's going on? This is Paul Ravella from ProPhysique.com, and today I want to give you guys some tips on how to time your meals for fat loss. Now, I'm a coach. I've been doing this for over a decade, and I'll show you some videos and pictures here, before, afters of myself, and the things that I've learned in the more than a decade that I've been studying, researching, and experiencing gaining body fat, losing body fat, and getting shredded for myself. And what I want to help you guys do is have some tools and how to set it up. Because sometimes just understanding what's happening can really help you stick to your plan and build that motivation. So today's question, first of all, comes from right here. I love it when you guys send me your questions on my Instagram direct message. So what I'd like to do is start by reading the question to you here, and then we're gonna answer it. And if you'd like this type of information from a guy who's just trying to help you reach your physique goals, hit subscribe. That's what I love to do here. Quick question. Is there a way you can teach us about timing of foods? How long after cardio do you eat your first meal? What supplements do you take and the timing of those? What about lunch and dinner? Do you like a 6 or 8 hour feeding window? So many questions, sorry. Well, these are all great questions, and the reason I love addressing these questions is because these are all questions I had years and years ago when I was first getting introduced into, bodybuilding, improving body composition. So I've always been a little bit obsessed with putting on muscle, and then eventually I became obsessed with showing that muscle. So I'll show you guys some early pictures here of my journey through this process, and it'll help you understand where I came from. So first things first, we have to understand that to put on body fat or to lose body fat, the clock is going to give us a 24-hour window. Now, there's been a lot of research done on the idea of metabolism. We've all heard this word. And for years, it was assumed that if we ate more small meals throughout the day, that would increase our metabolism. Well, that's wrong. What happens when we eat 17 small meals a day versus one meal when calories are equated?
No difference. There is no difference in the energy that is stored and the energy that is burned when you equate for calories. So first things first, the first thing I want to dispel is that you need to eat small meals throughout the day. I also want to dispel the idea that you need to do long periods of fasting to lose body fat. So what I wanted to display here was the idea that eating one meal a day, or OMAD, is somehow better than spacing your meals out in regards to fat loss. So what we have here at the top is represented is 4 meals, 4 hours apart, where we're eating 500 calories a meal, versus 1 meal down here where we're just eating those 2,000 calories in a feeding window. This has become a very trendy topic to talk about the benefits of 1 meal a day in regards to fat loss, because essentially they try to explain that it's going to be some benefits to hormones, to digestion, to